My mom passed 12 years ago. I've felt her presence over the years unexpectedly and enjoyed the encounters. Sometimes I want to more proactively feel her. How do you think I can connect? Okay, so first of all, I think this is so beautiful that you're actually experiencing or have experienced her presence. And I know how frustrating it can be at times when we actually want it and then we don't get it. I remember after my mom's mom passed, my grandmother, I just was like, "Pff," I mean, I speak to people on the other side. I'm like, she is coming to me. I'm talking to my grandma, and she didn't show up. She didn't show up. She didn't show up. She didn't show up. And I was like, dang it! Like, how is this possible? Like, I'm open to this. I have skill sets for this. Like, where the hell are you? And it wasn't until years later she showed up in a dream, and a nighttime dream, but it was like a lucid dream. And I was like, oh, she was doing her work on the other side. She was doing her stuff. And and she was very clear with me that she's always here too, but that I actually didn't need her. And she's like, so I didn't dip in, like, you didn't need me. And so I didn't stop what I was doing on the other side to come to you just to fulfill this desire for you to speak to me. And I was like, "Oh, wow, okay." So sometimes on the other side, they really are doing their work, and sometimes their work is on themselves and their own healing work. And sometimes it's like for her, it came to me really clear that she's like an earth angel now, and so she has lots of assignments, and she's a guardian angel to lots of other humans on the earth. And so I was like, okay, thanks, like that really helped me. Like, now I know why you weren't showing up, or I wasn't able to contact you. Now for this particular one though, yeah, so sometimes I think proactively we can't. Sometimes we, because they're busy, because we actually don't need them. We think we do, but we don't. And so just know that in your heart, that if you aren't connecting, don't be hard on yourself. Just allow it to come when it's meant to be. Now, there are ways I think that you can kind of prompt it. And sometimes that's, through another psychic medium or someone who can really call them in, and be that conduit. And so I think if you have that strong of a desire, you're going to find a psychic medium that's going to actually help you do that connection and call that person in. And or it could be that it's just a calling for you to build that toolbox for yourself, if you really want to have that proactive conversation. Now, another thing that's coming to mind to share is that I found, now that when I do want to proactively speak to my grandmother, um, I know that she always had this rose lotion on her nightstand. And so that's what I think about when I think about my grandmother. And I went into one of the spiritual stores here, and I found this rose incense. And so I realized, oh gosh, I'm going to buy this rose incense. And so I light that, and I ask for my grandmother to come through. And inevitably she does, by lighting the rose incense. So it just, like, it's kind of like my, I guess it's my smoke signal, right? Up to the heavens, that says, like, up to the other realms, that says, hey, like, I actually want to have this conversation with you right now. And then I do that personally. I do that mostly through journaling, but not always. It just feels like the pen in my hand gets my mind to just quiet enough to where I can actually just let the pen write. And then sometimes I'm actively in it, and sometimes I look at it later and I really get the message. So hopefully that's helpful for you to be able to connect in with anyone crossed over on the other side. And I don't want to not say this, that you can actually do this with people who are alive. Like, you can speak to their higher self, people who are alive. So you can connect in. A lot of people think, like, oh, it was so serendipitous that I was thinking about calling you and then you called me, right? Like those kind of situations. So we do connect in and we do communicate with people. And the closer we are and the stronger our sacred soul connection is with them, the more we can have these conversations that are not even here with words, but that we think of things. And maybe another example, if you're one of those like skeptics, um, is we hear this a lot with identical twins or twins, right? Where they can be, it's like non-locality. This is quantum physics. I'm not making this up. They can be in separate places. and they can have the same thoughts, the same images come to mind. And so there's lots of ways that you can build that muscle as well, that spiritual muscle, and put that in your toolbox to just be able to tune in to other people. And it's beautiful when you do. It's not like you're invading on their privacy. That, everyone still has discernment around like what people can access from their field, but it's a nice way to just stay connected with people. And sometimes, it's just simply to say like, I love you, or I'm thinking about you and I care about you. So yeah, we don't have to be dead to be able to speak to someone's higher self or to stay connected on a sacred soul level. Okay. If you'd like more on that, you can always schedule a one-on-one or write more in the comments. I'm happy to elaborate on it. All right. Each week, I am so happy to have you here. I love it when you tune in. I love it when you ask questions. I want to know, what is your state of the heart? I want to hear all of your heartbreak, your heartache, and anything that's weighing heavy on you that we can help transform, because we're here for bliss, not for suffering. And so each week at 11:11 Pacific time, please submit your questions, show up live. And if you want more resources, you can always schedule a one-on-one session with me. I also do executive spiritual advising, and there's lots of resources on bethbell.me. The Awakening and Healing Handbook, lots of tips, tools, techniques that will help you. There's the Psychedelics Resource Guide. So if you have any interest in possibly unraveling your mind and getting out of the reality that you're in, that might be something to consider. You'll hear all about that in the guide. And there's also the Herpes Handbook. So whether you have herpes or not, there's juicy nuggets in there about viruses of the mind, and also how to overcome shame, guilt, and heartache and heartbreak that the herpes virus can bring to lots of families and loved ones. All right, with that said, I can't wait to see you next week, 11:11 Pacific time. And until then, wishing you much bliss and joy on the journey. Namaste.